In this video, we will solve the questions asked in JKPSC Lecturer Economics paper of 2025. The first question is, for a given commodity, the substitution effect is more than the negative income effect, the substitution effect is less than the negative income effect, the substitution effect is equal to the negative income effect, or both the substitution effect and income effect are negative. So correct option in this case should be B option, that is the substitution effect is less than the negative income effect. Why? We know for a given commodity what happens, the negative income effect outweighs the substitution effect, that is negative income effect is greater than the substitution effect, or we can say substitution effect is less than the negative income effect, which is the case enshrined in option B. So we know that this is a special type of inferior good where demand for good increases, that is demand for good increases when the price of good also increases and vice versa. So the correct option should be B option. Next question is, the Cobb-Douglas production function is homogeneous of degree 1. Which statement is true? We are being given there is increasing returns to scale. A proportional increase in all inputs expands output in different proportion. Marginal product depends on input ratio only. Average product depends on absolute amounts of inputs. Okay, so let us see what is the Cobb-Douglas production function. So basically it is output is a function of, we have labor L to the power alpha K to the power beta. Now since we are being told it is of homogeneous of degree 1, that means the sum of alpha plus beta is equal to 1. Okay, so when we have a homogeneous Cobb-Douglas production function of degree 1, that means we get the constant returns to scale. So first option tells us that it gives us increasing returns to scale, so it is incorrect. Why? If it was of homogeneous of degree greater than 1, then we could have said that it gives the increasing returns to scale. Okay, so if alpha plus beta was greater than 1, then we will get the increasing returns to scale, but since the degree is here 1, so we will get constant returns to scale. Okay, now also we are being told a proportional increase in all inputs expands output in different proportions. No, that is also incorrect. Since it is of degree 1, a proportional increase in all inputs expands output in same proportion. That means if it is of degree 1 here, if inputs are increased by factor, if inputs are doubled, output will also get doubled. Why? Because it is homogeneous of degree 1. Doubling the input will double the output and it will not change in different proportions. So B option is also incorrect. Now C option is marginal product depends on input ratio only. So let us take again this production function. So we have output A L to the power alpha K to the power beta. If we take the marginal product, let us say with respect to labor, so we will get marginal product of labor will be equal to exponent of L becomes coefficient, so we A alpha times A L to the power alpha minus 1 times K to the power beta. If we solve it, okay, or let us solve it here, we will get alpha A L to the power alpha, transpose this here, so it becomes L K to the power beta. Okay, so here you can see we will get alpha times, so this is our given production function, so it is Q divided by L. So here we can see that marginal product depends on input ratio only. Okay, so option C should be correct. Now D option is average product depends on absolute amounts of inputs. No, it does not depend upon the absolute amount of inputs, it depends upon the input ratio, so it is also incorrect. Correct option is C option. Now the next question is, law of variable proportion explains that. So what are being given the options. There are three stages of production. That's correct. So if I draw it here, so we have like this, we have total product, and we have three stages. First, when total product increases at an increasing rate. Second, when total product increases at decreasing rate. And third stage is where total product starts diminishing. So what we are being told, there are three stages of production. That's correct. In the second stage, marginal product is more than average product. So if I draw the relationship between average product, so let us say this is our marginal product and this is our average product. So what happens in the second stage, marginal product is in fact less than the average product. So this is incorrect statement. Okay, in the third stage, the marginal product is negative. Yes, in the third stage, we will get the marginal product as negative. That is correct. In the first stage, total product increases at an increasing rate. Yes, that is also correct. So to say we have the options, this option is correct, this is incorrect, this is correct, and this is also correct. So we have 1, 3 and 4. So we have this option should be correct, 1, 3 and 4. Where it is? So here we have 1, 3 and 4. Now next question is, under perfect price discrimination, the consumer surplus and producer surplus are 0, so they cannot both simultaneously 0. The consumer surplus is negative but producer surplus is positive. This is also incorrect. So what happens actually under perfect price discrimination? A monopolist charges each consumer the maximum price they are willing to pay. Maximum price the consumer is willing to pay for a good or service. That means all the consumer surplus is exploited by the producers. That means consumer surplus will be 0 and producer surplus will be maximum in case of perfect price discrimination. So only consumer surplus is 0. Yes, this option seems to be correct. So the correct option should be D option. Then we have next question. Which one of the following is not a theory of oligopoly? So Kinke demand curve, that is in the oligopoly model. Price leadership model, that is also lexicographic model. So lexicographic preferences, they are not in, this is in fact in the consumer theory. Okay, consumer preferences. So last is Carnot model. We know that is also the oligopoly model. So correct option should be C option in this case. Question number 6 is, match the following. So we have diamond water paradox. It is used to explain the marginal utility analysis. It was given by the Adam Smith. It shows us why water which is easily available is less valuable than the diamond which are rarely available, and it has been explained by marginal utility analysis given by Adam Smith. Deadweight loss, it is concerned with consumer and producer surplus. In case of monopoly, we have the maximum deadweight loss, and in case of perfect competition, there is no deadweight loss at all. Bliss point, so it is with the indifference curve analysis, which then we have the Lorentz curve, and it is the distribution of income. So we have 1 is 3, so 1 is related to 3, 2 is related to 4. So option B should be correct. Next question is, the phenomenon of adverse selection arises. Okay, so a buyer decides to buy a good to be consumed in future. No, a buyer or seller enters into an exchange with another party who has more information. Yes, that's the essence of the adverse selection. So adverse selection arises when one party one party has more information than another party. Okay, so in case of, let us take an example, the case of insurance market. So a person who is, we can say, uh, a person who has some sort of a disease. Okay, that very person is more likely to purchase the insurance, and the insurer does not know the information that a person is ill. Okay, that means in this case the person who buys the insurance has more knowledge, and the person who sells the insurance has less knowledge, and ultimately in this case as adverse selection arises, and the person who supplies the insurance in this case uh, you know badly suffers, loosely speaking. So simple thing, when one party has more information than another party and they enter into the agreement of exchange, we say that the adverse selection arises. Next question is then, any reallocation of resources cannot make someone better off without making someone worse off. This is a situation known as Piago, Pigo optimality, Pareto optimality, Higgs optimality, or Ricardo optimality situation. So this is straightforward. It is the Pareto optimality situation, a situation where we cannot make someone better off without making another person worse off. That is the Pareto optimality situation. Then we have question number 9. For the given statements 1 and 2, choose the correct option. Okay. Firms exhibit increasing returns to scale, have U-shaped long-run average cost curves. So exhibiting increasing returns to scale. So if we have U-shaped cost curve, so this the first downward sloping, it shows us decreasing returns to scale. This part shows us constant returns to scale, and this shows increasing. Sorry, I made a mistake. Let me try it again. So that downward sloping average long run average cost curve, it shows us increasing returns to scale. This part shows us constant returns to scale, and this shows us decreasing returns to scale. Okay, so what we are being told that firm exhibiting increasing returns to scale have U-shaped long run average cost curve. No, they will have downward sloping average cost curve, the increasing returns to scale, if the firm is exhibiting. So I guess the first option should be incorrect. The second option statement is rather the supply curve of the competitive firm in the short run is marginal cost curve above the average cost. So that is correct. We know that if this is our average cost curve, marginal cost curve, rather we have the average variable cost curve. So what is marginal cost curve? Sorry, the supply function is the marginal cost curve which is above the average variable cost curve. So second option is correct. So that we can say first one is, so we are both are correct. No, both are wrong. No, one is wrong, second is correct. Yes, that is true. One is correct, second is wrong, that is also incorrect. So D option should be correct option here. Now monopoly power is explained by, so we know that Lerner's index is used to measure the monopoly power, which is equal to price minus marginal cost upon price. So it is I guess it should be A option here. Then we have question number 11. In case of constant elasticity substitution production function, we have Q is equal to, so we have Q is equal to A, which shows total factor productivity. We have A K to the power rho, then 1 minus alpha L to the power negative rho again raised power negative 1 upon. So we are being told elasticity of substitution. So this shows us elasticity of substitution parameter, and it is in fact equal to, I have derived it n number of times, it is equal to 1 divided by rho. Sorry, plus should be equal rho upon 1 rho upon 1 plus rho. So if here it is negative, here we will have positive. Okay, in most cases or at times, if this exponent is positive, here we will have the negative thing. Okay, so the correct option should be sorry, my bad, it is in fact equal to 1 divided by 1 plus rho. Okay, so if here it is negative, it should be here positive. Only thing we have to remember here, and I have derived it n number of times. Next question is, which of the following statements is correct? Options are: the IS curve will shift to the left when the tax rate is lowered. So this option is incorrect. When taxes are lowered, IS curve will shift towards right, not towards left. Second option is the IS curve slopes downwards towards right. This is also incorrect. IS curve is downward sloping. It does not slope upward to the right, so it is also incorrect. It is the LM curve which slopes upward towards right. C option is the IS curve is relatively steep if investment is less sensitive to changes in the interest rate. Now, what happens if investment is less sensitive to change in the interest rate? What happens? A large change in interest rate is required to cause a small, that is, a large change in what we call the interest rate is is required to cause a small change in investment, and consequently we will have a steeper IS curve in this case. So C option is correct. D option is the IS curve is relatively flat. No, it cannot be flat if investment is less sensitive to changes in the interest rate, because C option is correct, D is incorrect here. Now we have next question that says, we have assertion and reasoning question here. We are being told an increase in government spending causes lesser increase in income compared to the total shift in the IS curve. Okay, so this is the reasoning. What is the assertion here? The increase in government spending causes increase in the rate of interest, which crowds out private investment to some extent. So here assertion is also correct, reasoning is also correct. Why? Because in ISLM, or ISLM shows us when government spending increases, IS curve shifts towards right. Okay, however, this shift leads to increase in, so it causes increase in the rate of interest. What happens eventually? Demand for money, so demand for money also increases. Now this higher interest crowds out some private investment. So in this case, I guess assertion is also correct, reasoning is correct, and both explains the assertion here. So remember, I'm just a student, I cannot I'm just giving my best to explain the point is here. Okay, there can be some mistakes in my video, so bear those very mistakes. Now next question is, which of the following is not correct? Okay, neoclassical economists propose that economic agents will form rational expectations. Yes, that is correct. It is the rational expectations model, we also call this. And then we have the view of the new classical is that the systematic monetary and fiscal policy actions that change the aggregate demand will not affect output and employment even in the short run. But I guess it is not correct. Why? According to the new classicals, systematic monetary and fiscal policy actions, monetary and fiscal policy actions that are anticipated by the economic agents will not affect output and employment, as we know that the agents will adjust their expectations and behavior accordingly. But it is the unanticipated policy changes that can have short run effects in output and employment. I guess this option, I guess it's not correct. Let us see other options. When the increase in the money supply is unanticipated, the new classical model indicates that output and employment will be affected in the short run. Okay, so the view of the new classical is there the systematic and physical money. So here it tells us when the increase in money supply is unanticipated, the new classical model indicates that output and employment will be affected in the short run. Yes, I guess so. It seems correct. So I have confusion in this question. I cannot show, but I guess what we call it is the unanticipated policy changes that can have short run effect on output and employment. So I guess B and C I have confusion in these options. Okay, so let's leave it as it is. So in comments please tell me what would be the plausible explanation for this question. Now we have question number 15. Due to monetary expansion under fixed exchange rates and perfect capital mobility in an ISLM model, options are or statements are: the rate of interest decreases, the level of income does not rise, the rate of interest remains same, the deficit in the balance of payment crisis. Okay, so let us see what exactly is meant by this. Now, when central bank attempts to implement expansionary monetary policy by increasing money supply, okay, what will happen? LM will shift. When money supply increases, LM will shift right, causing rate of interest will decrease. Okay. However, we have the perfect capital mobility here. Now, when domestic interest rate is less than the world interest rate or global interest rate, what will happen? Investors will move their capital abroad in search of higher returns. And what will happen? So there will be massive capital mobility. So we have massive capital mobility here. Now, consequently, what will happen? Output of, or rather what we can say, the outflow of the capital causes. When capital outflows, balance of payment deficit will arise. Okay, now to maintain the fixed exchange rate, since it talks about the fixed exchange rate. Now to maintain the fixed exchange rate, what will happen? Central bank must intervene in the foreign exchange market. And what will happen there? In the foreign exchange market, the foreign currency will be sold by the central bank and it will buy its own domestic currency. Now, when domestic currency is being bought by the central bank, this will cause the domestic money supply to shrink, okay, back to its original level, which shifts LM will shift back to its original position, and there will be no change in the income. So initially rate of interest will decrease, the level of income does not rise. Yes, that's true. The rate of interest remains same, as I have told you. There is balance of payment deficit arises. Okay, I guess third sec sorry third second, third and fourth should be correct. So second, third and fourth, there are now No, second and third will be correct. Okay, when we will have balance of payment deficit, not it will be compensated when we will get back to the initial LM curve. So I guess option second and third is correct. I guess fourth is also correct, but there is no matching option here, so I will go for second and third here, B option. Okay, now we have the next question. Which one of these correct? We are being given. S denotes the private savings stake, T denotes the tax net tax revenue, I is the private domestic investment, G is government purchase of goods and services, and NX denotes the net export. We need to find out which is the correct identity here. So it should be this fourth one, that is private savings plus net tax revenue should be equal to the consumption plus investment plus government spending and net exports. This is correct. Next we have to match these. Okay, so IS curve, LM curve. So here we have money supply M, so it will go here. IS curve, so here we have Y times the multiplier. A denotes the autonomous component, B times I, so I denotes the rate of interest, so it will go for this government multiplier. So alpha G is here, money market equilibrium. Yes, we have money market equilibrium, that is KY minus HI. Okay, so this shows the money demanded for transaction purpose, this shows for speculative purpose. So this will go for this, and you can choose the correct option here. Then we have next question, which says the acceleration principle is concerned with, now the change in investment, change in the tax rate, change in the savings rate, change in the interest rate. It is concerned with the change in the investment. Now change in the level of demand for consumer good will lead to more than proportional change in the demand for the capital good, what we call the investment. That is shown by the accelerator principle. Then we have next question. Depreciation of domestic currency worsens the trade deficit in the short run but improves in the long run. This effect of devaluation is known as, so obviously it is J curve, there is no Y or C or G curve in the economics. Okay, so it will be this J curve effect. Then we have question number 20. The liquidity trap is a situation of a very low level of inflation, a very low level of investment, a very low level of employment, or a very low level of interest rate. So in fact, liquidity trap is a situation of a very low level of interest rate. It is the situation where the monetary policy becomes ineffective. People prefer to hold on to cash rather than invest in bonds, as they expect the interest rates to rise in future. So correct option should be D. Now then we have the question. The Tobin-Skew theory is related to export, depreciation of currency, devaluation of currency, or investment. Correct option should be D option. Okay, so Tobin-Skew shows us the ratio between what we call market value of company upon the replacement cost. Okay, if Q is greater than 1, new investment will be profitable. If Q is less than 1, so new investment is not profitable, and if Q is in fact equal to 1, so it is even Steven case. Then we have 22. We have to match them. So we have first, let's take them. Samuelson will go for multiplier acceleration interaction theory. Schumpeter will go for innovation theory. Higgs theory of trade cycles. So how trade will go for pure monetary theory. So you can match the correct options here. Then next question is economic growth takes place when there is an increase in country's total output of goods and services over time. I guess it is true. No change in the poverty level, illiteracy rate or IMR. It's incorrect. So economic growth will take account these things. An increase in country's population. This is not, the aim of the economic growth. Fluctuation in income inequality. No. So correct option should be A option here. Then we have we are being given the statement: the principal strategy of the development necessary for any takeoff is the mobilization of domestic and foreign savings in order to generate sufficient investment to accelerate economic growth. This was explained by Solo, Horodomor, Sen model or John Meade model. So I guess domestic and foreign savings to generate. I'm not sure, so let's go for Herodomer model where we, but it talks about the development here. Okay, so I'm not sure about this, so it should be a solo, not solo. Okay, so I'm not sure, so I will go for B option. Then we have the concept of PQLI was contributed by Morris D. Morris, Mir GM, Donor or Mehbubul Haq. So it will go for MDM. So it shows us it uses three indicators, that is basic literacy rate, infant mortality rate and life expectancy at age 1. Okay, it is used to rank the countries in terms of development. Then we have and next question, the low LDCs. We have the LDC government must inevitably assume an active responsibility for the future well-being of their countries. Yes, least development countries should take the responsibility for the future well-being of their countries. Okay, assertion is correct. What is reason? Such governments are not preoccupied with the problems of debt, deficit, as well as poverty, population explosion, unemployment. No, they are not preoccupied. So if we remove not, they are preoccupied, that will be correct. So reason is incorrect. So I will go for assertion is correct, A is correct, but R is wrong. Then we have next question is trade can help countries by promoting those sectors of economy which do not possess comparative advantage. So it is in fact blatant, blatantly incorrect. Why? Trade does not help countries by promoting sectors they do not possess a comparative advantage. Rather, it encourages the specialization in sectors where they do not have comparative, where they in fact have comparative advantage. So it is incorrect here. Now what is the reason? Trade promotes greater international and domestic equality by equalizing factor prices and raising real income of their. That is correct. So statement 1 is incorrect. Statement 1 is wrong and statement 2 is correct. Yes, D option should be correct here. Then we have an annual average natural population growth rate in economically developed countries like we have Italy, France, Germany, 1.9, 1, 0. So it should be less than 1%. So it should be 0.1%, I guess, but I'm not sure here. Next question is, we have the Gini coefficient is an aggregate inequality measure. Which one is correct? Gini coefficient can have a value between 0 and 2. No, it is incorrect. It lies between 0 and 1. 0 shows us perfect equality, and it shows inequality, perfect inequality. It lies between 0 and 1. 0 signifies perfect inequality. No, it shows perfect equality. 1 signifies perfect inequality. Yes, that is true. 2 is not in the competition. So only third statement is correct. That means option D should be correct. The traditional neoclassical theory asserts that the output growth results from, options are, increase in labor quantity, that is true, increase in labor quality, increase in capital, that is true, improvement in technology. Increase in labor quality, so that will be subsumed in the improvement in technology here. Okay, labor quality is not a separate component in case of traditional neoclassical growth theory. So it should be 1, 3 and 4. 1, 3 and 4. So D option should be correct. Next question is, consider the following statements. The immediate cause of the international trade is the difference in relative commodity prices in the two countries. Yes, that is why international trade arises. Reason is, difference in relative commodity prices do not arise due to differences in factor prices. Yes, they arise because of the differences in the factor prices. So the reason, I guess, is incorrect here. So assertion is A is correct, but reasoning is wrong. Next question is, to match the following, we have Hicksher Olin. It will go with factor price equalization. Adam Smith went for surplus theory. David Ricardo will go for comparative cost, and Williams, I guess this is the correct sequence here. So I don't know what is Williams and how it is related to absolute cost theory here. So you can enlighten me in the comments. Next question is, which one of the following is not a disequilibrium in balance of payments? Okay, we have the cyclical disequilibrium, secular disequilibrium, floating disequilibrium is not, and structural disequilibrium is. Now this cyclical disequilibrium, it is the cyclical fluctuations of countries' economies, such as in the periods of recession or boom. Now the secular disequilibrium, it is a deep-rooted changes in the economy, like the population growth or technological advancement. At that point, this secular disequilibrium can occur. Structural disequilibrium, it is actually the long-term change in the economy, like the shifts in the production capacity or consumer taste. So this should be incorrect here. Next question is, we have for the given statement 1 and 2, choose the correct options. Under the flexible exchange rate system, exchange rates are not assessed through the forward market. Yes, they are assessed through the forward market, because we have the flexible exchange rate here. Under flexible exchange regime, exchange rate is determined by the forces of demand and supply in the forex market. So I guess this is incorrect. Under the flexible exchange rate system, the problem of scarcity or surplus of any one of the currencies automatically solved. Why? Because we have the flexible exchange and it is determined by demand and supply of the currency. So it is correct. So I guess statement 1 is incorrect, statement 2 is correct. So D option should be correct one. Next question is, for the following options are given about the custom unions. It induces a rapid technological advancement. Yes. It generates economies of scale and accelerates the rate of growth of the member countries. Yes, it increases the competitiveness among the member countries. That's correct also. A custom union between developing countries and developed countries are always advocated. No, it is not advocated. Why? Such a union can be disadvantageous to the developing countries by exposing their nascent or infant industry to intense competition from the advanced countries, so they cannot survive. So it's not advocated between developing and developed countries always. So 1, 2, and 3 are correct. That means option B should be correct. Next question is, which of the following is true about imposition of tariff on imports by a country? Options are: it brings disequilibrium in the balance of payment through an expansion of foreign trade. We have to find out the true correct here. Okay, so this is incorrect. The level of employment increases. Yes, we know that a tariff is a kind of tax. Okay, if tariff is imposed, okay, that means the imported goods will become more expensive and people will substitute towards the domestically produced goods which are relatively cheaper. Okay, what will happen? Demand for domestically goods will increase. That means firms will hire more people and employment will rise. So correct option should be B. It encourages the advantage of expanding world trade. No. Domestic production falls significantly. No. So correct option should be the level of employment rises. Now we have 37. If PF, PD, and ER are the foreign price index, domestic price index, and normal exchange rates respectively, the real exchange rate is defined by. So real exchange rate is given by, that is exchange rate times PF, that is the foreign price index, upon PD. Okay, where PD denotes the domestic price index. So the correct option should be D option then. Now next question is, which of the following, we have the advantages of fixed exchange rate are given below. Which of the following is not true? Fixed exchange rate reduces speculative activities. Yes. Fixed exchange rates help us in internal economic stabilization. Why? Because when there is no speculation, there will be stabilization. Fixed exchange rates cause increase in domestic money supply. Not always. Why? Two cases can arise. When there is surplus of domestic currency. So when we have surplus of domestic currency, what will happen? Central bank will buy domestic currency by selling foreign reserves. This will reduce domestic money supply, will reduce. But when there is shortage of domestic currency in the market, central bank will sell the domestic currency by purchasing foreign currencies. This will lead to increase in the domestic money supply. So it does not necessarily cause an increase in money supply. It can cause increase in money supply or decrease in money supply. So option C is incorrect. Fixed exchange rates ensure certainty and promote international trade. Yes, that is correct. Then we have savings rate in India is 38%. Next question is, the rate at which RBI borrows money from commercial banks is known as bank rate, repo rate, reverse repo rate, or disc. Okay, so it is straightforward. It is reverse repo rate when RBI borrows from commercial banks, and when commercial banks borrow from RBI, one what we call the bank rate, where the commercial banks do not have to submit the collateral, and another is repo rate, where to borrow from the central bank, commercial banks have to use the collateral. So correct option should be reverse repo rate here. Then we have question 41. High powered money comprises of. So high power money comprises of currency in circulation, bankers deposit with RBI, other depositors with RBI. We also call this the monetary base. Then we have the biggest component of reserve money in India is currency in circulation. Okay, so reserve money is also known as high powered money. So it is equal to currency plus cash reserves of commercial banks held with RBI. So biggest component is this currency in circulation. Then we have question 43. RBI increases CRR. This means, so when CRR is increased, commercial banks will have less money to lend. So the correct option should be B option. And vice versa, if CRR is decreased, commercial banks will have more money to lend. So in this case, it will be C option. Then we have the interest rate charged by RBI on loans provided to commercial banks for longer duration without collateral. Okay, so when commercial banks get loan from RBI for longer period and do not use collateral, we call that very bank rate. Okay, so the difference between bank rate and repo rate is that in case of repo rate, commercial banks have to produce collateral before RBI to get loan. For bank rate, no collateral is required and it is used for longer duration. So correct option should be bank rate here. Then we have how does the Stolper-Samuelson theorem link changes in the good prices to factor prices? A change in the good prices has no impact on the prices. No, that's incorrect. An increase in the good prices raises the real return of the factors used intensively in the production and reduces the return of the other factors. So it is correct. So B option should be correct here. Then we have the margin requirement is specified under which instrument of monetary policy? Variable reserve ratio, statutory liquidity requirement, selective credit control, or open market operation. So it is an instrument of selective credit control. Margin requirements, like we have the down payment condition when we take loans. So these are the margin requirements. Then we have which one of the following taxes given below is also popularly known as destination tax? So it is this governing tax, what we call GST, goods and service tax. Sorry. Then the next question is total remittances sent back to India by Indians working abroad in 2024 2025. I'm not sure about this, so I will go with 141. Match the following. So Mehboob Haq will go with the Human Development Index. Okay, so then we have Jagdish Bhagwati, so free trade theory. So then we have Reinhardt will go for debt to GDP ratio. Amartya Sen will go for social choice theory. Okay, so you can match the correct options now. The density of population in India in number of people per square kilometer in August 2025 is, so in 2011 census it was like 382, I guess. So it should be more, but it should be around 382. So 6 this cannot be, this is too high, so I guess 492 should be correct. Which of the following is the fastest growing economy in G20? So China, Japan, India, Germany. So correct option is India. Next question is the Paretian condition for a public good is that it is straightforward when the marginal social benefit is equal to the marginal social cost. Okay. Then we have who among the following has been awarded the Nobel Prize in Economics for analysis of market with asymmetric information. So it is George Akerlof. That's correct. How many people are benefited from the world's largest food distribution program, the PMGKY? So it is 80 crore or 800 million. The extreme poverty headcount in India, those earning less than $3 a day, has dropped between 2011 to 2022. So it is from 27 to, so A option should be correct here. In international trade, which among the following is best measure of the terms of trade? So it is the export prices divided by the import prices. Yes, this is correct. The import prices divided by export, no. The ratio of total export value to import value, no. The average prices, no, that's not. So I guess A option should be correct here. Then we have 57. The concept of X inefficiency was introduced by Bamul Kent Harvey Levinson, or Amartya Sen. So it is Harvey Levinson. So by X inefficiency, what we mean, it is the difference between company's actual output and its potential output, often due to lack of the competitive pressures. Okay, so actual minus output, potential rather, gives us X inefficiency. Next question is which country is the largest exporter of rice in global rice market now? So largest producer of rice is China, second is India. So it should be either China or India. Next question is according to the cost theorem, presence of external costs in production refers to which of the following? Government intervention in the market to have, no, so it is incorrect. Under certain conditions, private parties can reach to efficient solution without government intervention when transaction costs are low. We know that very thing. So B option should be correct here. Private sector can negotiate to produce a level where consumer willingness to pay for good is zero. No, this is incorrect. So B option is correct. In higher transaction costs, only private sector is able to produce efficient level of output. No, Coase theorem tells us we should have zero or less transaction costs, and under certain conditions, then private parties can reach to efficient solution without government intervention. Now, to estimate the existence value of a remote, unvisited wilderness area, which among the following method is most suitable? Defensive, hedonic, contingent valuation method, or cost of illness? So it should be contingent valuation method, where we do a survey and we ask people how much they are willing to pay for any for an environmental good. Okay, so it is contingent valuation valuation method. Then we have minimum support price for agricultural commodities are fixed after taking into account the recommendations of CACP. This is straightforward. Commission for Agricultural Costs and Prices. Mention the crops where in the Green Revolution has been most successful. So it is rice and wheat. Then we have 63, Make in India initiative under 2.0 phase concentrates on. So it is, I don't know. So it should be, I guess C option should be correct here. 30 sector. So I don't know the correct option here. So let us leave it here. Okay. Then we have, okay, so let me see what has happened. Okay, next question is, due to economic reforms in 1991 in India, the market rate of exchange system was implemented. Substantial changes in the industrial licensing policy were undertaken. Yes, that's correct. You know, barriers regarding licensing was removed here. Okay, so it was made easy to get licenses. That was one of the achievement of the economic reform. So I will go for B option. Phasing out the deficit financing was done. Major PSUs were privatized in 1991. So the most closest answer should be B option. Then we have 65, fiscal deficit as of 2025. I don't know, so let's leave it as it is. When expenses of government for a period are higher than the actual revenue, it is known as revenue deficit, budget deficit, fiscal deficit, or balance of payment deficit. So this is incorrect. Fiscal deficit is more plausible. So I will go for fiscal deficit. Which one of the following is not covered under GST till now? So it is the aviation turbine fuel, ATF. Then we have assertion and reasoning. Consider the following statements. Petroleum and diesel prices are different in different states in India till now. Yes, that is true. There is no unanimity till now among all the states to allow petroleum products to be covered under GST. Both are correct here. But does this explain the assertion? I am not sure. Let's go for A. Okay. Next question is, revenue deficit measures for the inability of the governments to meet its regular needs of expenditure like salaries, pensions. So revenue deficit, okay, it says that it measures. Yes, that's correct. And the government can control the revenue deficit by increasing tax and non-tax revenues. So both are correct here. Next question is, the following items of government expenditure constitute revenue expenditure. Interest payments on internal and external loans, yes. Salaries, pensions, and provident fund, yes. Infrastructure and irrigation work, no. It goes for what we call the capital expenditure. Subsidies and law and order, yes. So we will go for 1, 2, and 4. 1. So A option should be correct. Now match the following transfer expenditure. It will go for this Wagner's law. Okay, so displacement moment from lower to higher. So this will go this. Weismann-Peacock hypothesis. It will go public expenditure increases in jerks or step-like fashion, and Wagner's law will go for increasing public expenditure. So you can match the options, and the analysis of variance is carried out by using, so it is F test. In regression analysis, which of the following test is used to test the significance of regression coefficient? So it is T test. Which of the following is not a sampling distribution? So T, chi, and F are Poisson distribution, is the probability distribution. So incorrect is B. Type 1 error is committed when rejecting null hypothesis when it is true, what we call false positive. Okay. Which one of the following statements is incorrect? Normal distribution is a symmetric distribution. Yes. The coefficient of correlation can be more than 2. No, it lies between -1 and +1. Student T distribution was given by Gosset. That's true. Binomial distribution is symmetrical if P is equal to Q is equal to 0.1, where P and Q are the probability of success and failure respectively. That's true. So incorrect is B option. For testing the association of attributes, which sampling test is used? So we use chi-square test. What are the numerical limits on the correlation of coefficient or correlation coefficient? So it is from -1, or we can say -1 to +1. Okay, if I use this closed interval notation, so it should be B option here. The level of significance is the probability of committing type 1 error. If the scatter diagram is drawn and if all points form a straight line, then it is an indication of perfect correlation. Okay, so if all points lie on the line, so we have perfect correlation, whether it is positive or negative. Coefficient of determination is defined as R square. Okay. Next question is, in the presence of heterodicity, which one is true? The OLS estimators are biased. The OLS estimators are linear, unbiased estimators. That is correct here. The OLS estimators are not consistent. The OLS estimators are of minimum variance. No. So correct option is B option here. Then we have question 83. The stationarity of the time series can be examined in various ways. Which of the following is not true? So correct option is Bayes analysis. Then we have next question, which one of the following is not correct about multicollinearity? So high pairwise correlation, that is correct. High R square but few significant T ratios, that is correct. The coefficients in auxiliary regressions are significant, that is true. But the OLS estimators and their standard errors cannot be sensitive. They are sensitive, so this is incorrect. Adjusted R square, and let me write it here. So we have adjusted R square is given by, that is R square adjusted is given by, that's n minus 1 divided by n minus k times R square. That is the formula. Then we have the data sets for regression purpose can be, it can be cross-sectional, time series, parallel. There is nothing called parallel data, pooled cross-section data. So 1, 2 and 4 is correct. Coming to the next question, which one of the following is not true for set analysis? If all elements of set X are also the elements of set Y, then X is subset of Y. That's true. The empty set is written by mu. No, it is shown by phi. So this is incorrect here. Then the first derivative of this function is the given function. The exponent, the derivative of Ex is in fact Ex, so it is pretty easy. So it is Ex. Then the market demand function, we have to find out the elasticity of demand. So it is simply, we know dq upon dp into p upon q. So we will get -2 into, so price is 3 and quantity demanded. So if we have here 3, so it will become 6. So we will get 3 ones are 3 twos are 2 and 2 gets cancelled. We get -1. First A option is correct. Then we have the Paris Agreement aims to limit the global warming to below. So it is from 1.5 to 2% degree centigrade pre-industrial levels. Then we have the term carbon neutrality means, so it means balancing emitted carbon with carbon removal. Which are the following are economic tools to control pollution? So we have the tradable permits and piggovin fees. So these two are the tradable permits here. There is nothing called a principal agent fees or Scythian fees. So the question related to J&K, I cannot answer it, so let us leave it here because I don't have the data. Which of the following are best describes greenwashing? So it means misleading consumers about the environmental practices. Then we have 95. Which UN framework guides businesses to align strategies with sustainable development? So it is UN Global Impact. Next question is the nominal GSDP of J&K in 2024-2025 is approximately. I don't know anything about this, so let's leave it. So this is about the. Then, as per classical theory of interest, the rate of interest is determined by demand for capital and supply of savings. This should be correct. Then the question is about PM Kisan scheme. So I don't know about this, so I cannot answer this. So I hope I make myself clear, so and you find out this video helpful. So remember, I'm just a student of economics. I don't there can be some unintentional mistakes, or the answers can be, or explanations can be wrong, so bear those very things. Okay, so please like, comment and share this video with your friends. Thank you.